Hello, hello. Good evening. It's 7 p.m. here, 7 o'clock, and we're going to be hearing Jess's story. Wait, she's here, so let me send her. Let's see if she can't. Oh, view request. Oh, there she
Hello.
is.
How are
Hi, how are
you?
you? Good, thank you. I'm so
Same,
excited
same. And
about
it's
this.
really, I don't use IG Live that much, but it's like such a good tool. And I'm so glad you asked me to do this because I'm like, yes, that's going to get me out of my comfort zone. I got to do it.
That I love that. That's one of the beauties about working as a team, that we push each other's, kind of
100%.
like to grow. Like, yeah, I love that. So I saw
I
you had an amazing
did,
weekend.
yeah.
Ah,
It's so
that's
hard for me to
great.
just relax. Like I feel, and I think it's not even that I can't, it's that I don't even want to. I like to be active. I like to be on the go
Mm.
doing things all the time. And since I started my business, it's like I'm so
Oh, I think you froze. You said you were unable to join. What is this if you had already joined? Hmm. Let's see if this comes back to live, or if I have to start it again. Hello. Hello, hello. Are you there? Okay. Okay, let's see if she's back.
sorry. That's so strange.
Yes.
It kicked me right out.
I know that was crazy. It said like you were unable to join, and I
I
was
know.
like, she had
It
already
said to me,
joined.
thank you for
So
being on there. And then I was like, what? And then it like I, I don't know what happened, but anyways, that's okay. That's actually very normal for me because every time I go live or every time I do like anything that has to do with Zoom live, there's always something happening. So there we go. We got
acknowledge.
that out of the system. We're good to go now. Everything will go great. But what I was saying
Exactly.
is that since I started my business, it's almost like I want it so bad. Like I wake up, I'm excited. I want to keep going. I want to there's so many people I want to talk to, and it's like really hard for me to put everything aside and just because I just don't want to. I really enjoy it. And then I'm a mom at the same hi Sherry. I'm a mom too. So with the kids, I'm busy all the time. So that was so nice the weekend away because it's something that I don't typically do. And when my husband booked
Mhm.
that trip, it was really about let's not do anything else but relax and enjoy the nature. And that's what we did. And we were driving home today and I said, we did it. Like we actually really enjoyed and did nothing else but just enjoy our time. So it was great.
That's amazing. Now you're ready to
Yeah.
kick off
Yes.
2023 really with your cup full, and yeah,
Yeah.
ready to keep thriving. So now that you mentioned your business, Jess, I want to jump right
Yes.
on your story. Tell me how you started on who are you first? What business are you running, even though
Yeah.
people, some know already? But
So
give me a little
give
bit of
a bit of background of who I
backbone
am
there.
and the first place. But actually, you probably noticed. Most people probably noticed, but I do have an accent because I am just like you. This is like a language we're not super used to, but I'm French. My first language is French, and back in 2008, I moved here in Nova Scotia. And I knew no English at all. That was like, I couldn't speak English at all. But I moved here with my mom, and I had to learn it, and I did. And then I met my husband here, so I actually have been here in Nova Scotia now since 2008. But originally, I'm from Quebec. I was a hairstylist at that time. So I've always been passionate. I know I didn't get into what the business is, but I've always been a passionate of hair. Hair was always the thing I wanted to be involved in. I didn't know what I was really going to do with it, but the science, the health of the hair, doing hair, all of it. But when I moved here, we had our children really young, and at that point I was doing hair, and I realized really quickly that I had no time with my kids. So I realized really quick that doing hair, being behind the chair all week, most weekends, really wasn't probably the best thing for me, although I enjoyed it and I was passionate about it. The schedule didn't make sense. I wanted to be a present mom. I wanted to, just have time with them, watching them grow. And my husband had a really busy job. He was working away all the time. So with him being home, in the evenings I was working, on the weekends I was working. So really we had no time as a family. So my plan when I was in high school and then went to college was to be a hairstylist, and it was to do hair. That plan didn't work out. So then I was like, okay, this is confusing. What am I going to be doing? Like, what could I do that would be something that I really, truly enjoy? But that's not going to take so much of my time. And it's so crazy because sometimes things come into your life when you really least expect it. And I knew nothing about network marketing. It was not on my radar. I never even cared for it. I didn't know what it even meant. So it's not like I was searching for something different. I just knew that I wasn't happy in my situation. And a lot of people might look at me and think, I probably wasn't the perfect person to start a business because I was so busy at the time. I was doing hair. I had 2 young kids already. They were 15 months apart, so very close in age and little, under 4, and I was pregnant with my 3rd. And speaking with my husband and like kind of struggling at the time, because if I wasn't doing hair, I don't know how we would be able to pay our bills and take care of 3 children. So it was, a lot of the things were really scary. So speaking with my husband, we were kind of thinking maybe I should be home. Maybe I should just be a stay-at-home mom because, I was spending the time I was spending working, I was kind of, I wasn't saving anything because I'd have to put the kids into daycare anyway. So it just didn't make sense, right?
Of course.
So at that time, during that time when I really wasn't expecting to start anything new, I was actually thinking of doing less. I was thinking about maybe I should stay home and, take care of the babies, and which would have meant he would have been gone even more, having to work more, leave probably longer at a time. And someone here in Nova Scotia spoke to me about a business involving hair care. And the first thought was, how is it? Does it work well? Because I was a stylist. So my first thought was, I have to really I have to try it. I have to know if it's good. I have to believe in it. I have to make sure it works. So I actually became a customer first. I started using the products, and within 30 days, I knew for sure I was going to be able to talk about it because I was already seeing a difference in my hair. So then at that point, I still didn't even know really what the business was. All I knew was, do you want to promote hair care with me? Because at that time, 6 years ago, we only had hair care. We didn't have skincare. We didn't have wellness. Nothing. It was just hair care. Okay. But I knew nothing. I knew nothing. I was kind of like, okay, this is going to take more time away, from my kids probably, or my husband. How much is it to get started? Because I really have no money to invest in anything. So most people in my situation probably would have said, absolutely not. I can't take on another project. I can't, I just don't have the time. I don't have the money to invest. So then I started asking questions that really mattered. It's like, okay, let's stop thinking starting a business, but let's start asking, what can this do? How can this change my situation? So I started being very vulnerable with the person who shared this business model with me. And I was like, okay, you're talking to me about starting a business, but what's the business and what can this do for me? Like right now, I'm struggling with time, I'm struggling with money. Can this help me in the future? And she started speaking to me about it and saying, the best thing about this business is that you're only going to share what you really believe in. She's like, you're already using the products. Do you love the products? I was like, yeah, I actually do love it. I already had my mom using it. Like I literally was already in love with the product. So she's like, so you already love what you're using. So it's not going to be hard for you to share about it because you believe in it. And I was like, that's true. And she said, right now, do you feel like you're struggling so much with time? You're constantly rushing. You want to be working, but you also don't have the time to do it. And you want more time with your family. But she's like, how is that going to change for you if nothing changes? And I was like, okay, you're right.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, so do you think this could like potentially give me more time? She's like, well, here's the thing is there's no risk. She's like, you can start this with me, share about products that you use and love, build that trust with the people that you meet, make them fall in love with the products that you fell in love with. And she's like, with time you're going to see how it goes, and you're going to put in the time that you feel like putting in. She's like, you might feel like you can only put a few minutes per day into your business and grow it slowly, or she said you might go all in and grow something huge. Well, I'm an all in type of person, and I knew that when I was going to make that decision, I was going to go like full force, because when I start something, my heart's in it already. If I said, yes, I'm starting, it's because my heart's in it. So we talked about the fact that, okay, so I felt more confident knowing I'm going to be sharing something I already believe in and I already love. And then I thought, okay, it is right. Like if you don't change your situation right now, nothing's going to be different next year. And I was like, I don't want to be a stay-at-home forever. Like I'm an independent person, and I want to be able to, have something of my own. And it's great that my husband had a great job, but that wasn't mine. And I didn't feel comfortable with that. So I
Mhm.
kept thinking, okay, that's true. So if I do stop working, doing hair right now, and I'm home with the kids, well, what will my option be next year? What will my life and my option be in 5 years? Like, and then I was like, you know what? This might just be it. And so I asked her, I was like, what's the cost to get started? Because that was one of my biggest
Mm.
concern at the time. I didn't have a lot of, I was
Yeah.
young and I didn't have a lot of money, I just didn't. And I wasn't going to ask my husband for like more, and knowing it was just going to go to nothing when he was already paying most of the bills. So that was a
Mhm.
concern. And she said, well, she told me what the investment was, and actually it was quite more expensive back then than it is now. It's to
Oh,
me, it's such a
interesting.
no-brainer. I look at that price and I'm like, you can start
Mhm.
your business right now for $184. You can spend that on one
Wow.
night. This weekend, my husband and I went to dinner. One dinner, we spent that much for the two of us. And that gave me a nice meal, but
Mm.
that's it. So when she told me the amount to get started, I knew I didn't have it. But I also knew, I went back to what she said to me when she said, if nothing changes, right, if you don't change anything now, nothing will change. And I was like, I have to make that. I have to make that change like right now. So
Did that opportunity, sorry to interrupt, Jess, did that opportunity influence, like, even more your decision of stop working? Like you had
yeah,
already kind of made up your mind that you
yeah,
were going to be a stay-at-home mom
yeah.
and you were going to stop working. So this made it more, would you say that
It
this
came at
came at the right
I
time
was
because you were
yes,
prepared for it?
100%. And the minute that I made that choice and I knew I needed to make that decision, I was like, okay, now I have to make it work. Now I have to prove to myself this can work. And it really shocked me. It really, really shocked me how fast my life was changing right from the beginning. And it wasn't just the fact that I was earning money, because trust me, like when you do hair and you're on your feet all day and you spend a lot of hours, and sometimes you get your paycheck and you're like, I worked really hard for that. And so when I saw the difference doing something that was truly like just different and empowering in different ways, I was like, wow. And then it's like I put everything into high gear, and I said to my husband, I was like, this is the vehicle, this is the solution, this is the ticket. You know, when you sometimes people wish they won the lottery, like they think if I buy this lottery ticket and I win, my life is set. Well, that was my lottery ticket, and because I exactly what I needed to do
I
with it.
love
It's
that.
like I took this chance, and I knew that that was the vehicle that I needed to the solution to provide the life I wanted. And I took it very seriously right away, because it is serious. And sometimes we don't know these things about uh, business and those types of business models, but this business model actually changes more lives than most other business models in the world. And I didn't know that when I started. I didn't even start for that reason specifically, but I just felt like in my heart I needed something different. I needed a change. And I went all in. And you know what really kept me going is the people that I met really fast, that I realized had the same vision as me, that wanted the same thing as me, that I wouldn't have known otherwise, because they weren't necessarily my
Yeah.
close friends. They were people who somehow trusted me even before we were really, really good friends. And it was talking to them, realizing that what I had in my hands had the potential to help other people, and it had the potential to change other people's lives. That's when I was like, I'm meant to do this, because I get to do something I'm passionate about. I get to talk about hair and products that I love, and then I get to help others do the same and also earn as well. And it just quickly all made so much sense to me. And it will be 6 years in February, and I've never looked back. And I can truly say that was the best decision I have made for my family, because I have been a stay at home mom technically, because I've never had to put my kids in daycare since that day. Remember, I was stressing about the fact that if I was still doing hair, I'd have to put my kids in daycare, and that would be expensive. Well, because of this opportunity, I never had to. I got to be home with them growing up, every single one of them. Now they're all in school. My youngest is 5. And not only I got to do this, but I also gave that gift and that opportunity to a lot of the people who have joined me in this business. My really good friends, my best friends, they were like social workers, bankers, nurses. And, because of this opportunity that I shared, they're also at home now doing this full time. And
I love what you say that you, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I love what you say that you were able to give this gift
it
to
is.
others because it is a gift. Now, it, I think it's been clear how it changed your life and your lifestyle. Now, my question is, how did it change you
Yeah,
as an
in so many ways. I
individual?
don't even know if I can name them all, but it's funny you say that, because I think it was like a couple days ago, one of my really close friends sent me a video of me back 5 years ago. Um, I was doing a training for our team. And at that time, we were only a couple girls in the business. There was only maybe like, 20 of us. And I was doing a training, and she said, I was watching that, and she's like, it hit me so hard. She's like, we all start somewhere. She's like, you started somewhere. And she's like, the evolution and the transformation of you from that day to now is just incredible. And she's like, she asked me, can I share it with everyone else? Because she's like, people need to see that sometimes you don't realize that, I'm here today, but I didn't start here. And I, worked really hard to be here, but I worked a lot on myself. That's what I've done the most, is like,
Mhm.
I used to be horrified of speaking in public, in front of people. In high school, I used to ask the teachers if I could do my presentations in front of them by themselves, because I could not bear you know, the idea of doing it in front of the class. That's how scared I was. And I now, like, I have been on stage, spoke in front of like 5,000, 6,000 people. I do videos in front of the people that I love, but I think it all comes down to the fact that I truly found something that makes me happy and that I'm passionate about. And because of that, it just gave me the confidence to just grow myself. It just feels like I found my place. I found where I belong. And you realize like the biggest gift that you can give yourself is trying to grow who you are as a person. And I met so many people, and
Great.
that's the thing. I meet people and I learn from them every day. I literally learn from someone new every single day. And sometimes it's people like that. You joined me in this business not that long ago, this summer, and I learned from you
Mhm.
already. I think being open to,
Mm.
you know, learning from others like that, it helps you change.
Mhm.
Um, but I,
Yeah, I think definitely being
Mhm.
humble is very important. And it's funny that you mentioned how afraid you were about, speaking, like public speaking, because today, not long ago, about an hour ago, 2 hours ago, I
Yeah,
posted a reel that says, fear is really giving you clues of what you need to do next. And it's run towards it, not
100%.
away
That is
from it.
so true. And even as a mom, I know I'm a different mom, and I know that I'm a more confident mom because
Mm.
sometimes I hear it through my children, the dreams they have, the goals they have, and I'm like, you know, I don't think I could have gave them that same vision if I didn't found what I found today, because I didn't believe in that before. You know, I started believing that this was all possible when I just decided to go for it and started. But it, it,
Mhm.
I just feel like that's something that I was able to give them, is a vision and goals and dreams, and maybe something that I didn't know was possible when I was their age, you know?
Yeah. And I love that. I think we could be talking here for 2 hours because it's so fascinating what you're saying. And I wanted to mention something. You said how afraid you were, how much you've grown, and I can see, like, I love your energy because you look very confident. Your energy is very soft, but anybody can feel your presence. It's like a very powerful and very confident, and I think that is a very beautiful
So sweet.
combination. Um, and just kind of wrap up, I think we're going to have to do another one with
There's
to
so much
continue the
to say.
story because, yeah, there's some, I know there's so many stories and so much to tell. But um, what would you say, okay, to somebody who is struggling right now, or maybe they're not at that point where they're struggling,
Right.
but they're not really fulfilled with their lives, or they're starting to feel uncomfortable where they are, and they're starting to kind of, look at the sides to see what's going on, but they're either afraid of this business model because, let's be honest, it's gained a bad reputation in the past, so people look at it not in a very great way, or they're afraid of not knowing anything about it. They
Yeah.
can't picture
Yeah.
themselves being running a
Well,
business,
first of all,
right? So
there
what would you
isn't
say
one
to them?
person who doesn't have fear starting, because that is it's known.
Mhm.
You just don't know the outcome. So you're jumping into something that's totally new and you have no idea what it's going to bring in your life. So it is scary, and I totally get that. And um, I was afraid, and I can't even pinpoint exactly what I was afraid of, but I know that there were
Mm.
doubts, because everybody has doubts, but it's mostly about ourselves. Even though we can point the finger on the
Mhm.
business model, we can say, oh, somebody said this, said that, or all these things, but really truly it comes from us. And we also, the good thing about that is that we also have the power to change that because it comes from us.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is I feel like if you're a person that can always see the better side of things, instead of looking at this business model thinking, oh, but there's a bad rep. Yes, but there are a lot of cops out there, a lot of nurses, a lot of doctors who have bad reps, you know.
Yeah.
I also know that most people will go to school for years and years and years and not work into the profession they went to school for. Every profession has somehow a bad rep, but I think if you look at it like, yeah, some people might not do well, and usually it has to do with timing. It has to do with belief. It's not the business model. It's not the company they choose. It's usually because they aren't ready. Um, but you could also look at it
Mm-hmm.
as, but there are people like me who have been very successful and who have changed their entire life because of it. And to me, that's being optimistic. And if you want big in life, if you want to live the life of your dreams, whether that's, you know, if it doesn't have to be money. Like, to me, it's the freedom. It's the fact that I travel everywhere all the time. I've been taking my children on like 30 days long trips every 6 months, you know. That's freedom. But to me, it's like, if I want to keep growing, I have to look at the people who are growing. I can't look at the bad. I can't look at, because we don't know those things. You might look at somebody and see how successful they are, but you don't know how many times they failed or how scared they were when they started. So it inspires me. It's like, I see this person is successful. I feel like if it's possible for them, it's possible for me as well. But a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
choose to see it a different way. They choose to see that it might not work, they might not be good enough, but those are stories they're telling themselves. That's not the actual truth, you know. It's just your fear is talking, and but it comes from here no matter what. It's like, if you start this business with the intention of making it work, it will work. But the minute that you doubt in it, whether you're
Mm.
in it or not yet, if you doubt, it's not going to happen. And it's like this for everything else, you know. So if you're
Yeah.
someone who's, you know, maybe not 100% sure, or you're thinking about it but there's something holding you back, I would say into what really is keeping you from doing it. And most likely the reason that's keeping you from doing it is the reason why you should do it.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that. Well,
Thank
Jess, it's been
you for
amazing
inviting me.
talking to you. Um, oh no, of course, and it's not going to be the only time. I can see already. um, in closing, what would you say is being your biggest gain
Purpose,
in this?
like waking up every single day being excited because you're chasing after a bigger life, that is the biggest gift. Because I
Mhm.
remember being the person sitting on her couch, almost like frozen and paralyzed, thinking I have nothing to look forward to or nothing to chase, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And I felt guilty for saying this in the past, because as a mom, it feels like you should only focus on your kids, and your number one priority should always
Yeah.
be your kids. And I agree, but I also really truly believe that to be the best mom, we have to feel a purpose and feel fulfilled. And that's what it's given me. It's the fact that I wake up every day and I'm like, I am going places, and I feel confident that I'm making a better life every day. And I get to do something that I love. I get to speak with people who are on the same page as me, having friends, people that have the same vision, that are going after the same things. Like, that is huge. That is huge, because I used
Mhm.
to think I was antisocial. I used to think, oh, I don't like people that much. I like to be alone. But it's just because I didn't have the people who made me feel like, let's chase after something together. Let's talk together because it's a good thing,
Yeah.
you know? Um, but so the people who have come in my life because of this business is the number one thing that I've gained, but purpose is also, um that's like one of the biggest gifts for
Yeah,
sure.
that's great. I love
Well,
that. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm gonna
I'll
invite you
be
again
whenever you
some
want
other
to.
time. Now, perfect. Thank you. And if anyone watching, whether in the live or the recording, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or Jess about, you know, whatever question you may have about the business or the opportunity or whatever you're hearing here that is creating that
Perfect.
curiosity in you, we're here to help. Have a
Bye.
wonderful night. Thank you, everybody. Mwah. Take care.